Namaste, my dear young listeners. Welcome to yet another episode of Positivity series in Just for Your Ears podcast. Today's story is a reminder that sometimes the smallest of gestures, like a kind word or a simple note, can create deep and beautiful connections. Set in a quiet street of Madurai, this tale speaks of love, loss, and rediscovered joy. Here is the story: A Letter in the Window. Every morning, 82-year-old Mr. Srinivasan sat by the window of his ancestral home, sipping on hot filter coffee and watching the lane slowly come to life. Ever since his beloved wife Meenakshi passed away 2 years ago, silence had filled the once bustling house. But Srinivasan kept her memory alive in the way he knew best, by writing short, heartfelt notes to her and placing them in the window, just like he used to leave her little love letters near the mirror every morning. Across the street had just moved in a young family. Among them was Ananya, a shy and observant 10-year-old who had left behind her friends in Bangalore and was still adjusting to the new town. One morning, while walking to school in her neatly plaited hair and oversized backpack, she noticed a small handwritten note in Mr. Srinivasan's window. It read, "You are loved more than you know." It made her pause and smile. On an impulse, she waved shyly at him. He blinked in surprise, then returned the wave with a soft smile. The next day, Ananya dropped a note into his letterbox. It said, "Your note made me very happy. Thank you, Grandpa." From then on, silent exchange blossomed. Every few days, Ananya would slip in a note, sometimes with a joke from the school, a drawing of her pet cat Buski, or a question about Madurai's temples. Mr. Srinivasan would reply with stories of his childhood games in the Vaigai River, poems he wrote for Meenakshi, or tales from the days when letters were delivered by hand and waited for the replies with hearts pounding. Seasons changed and their friendship grew. On Ananya's birthday, she found a card waiting at the door. It read, "To my dear wonderful friend, may your heart always stay as pure and bright as today." Inside was a carefully pressed Jadimalli flower charam, Meenakshi's favorite. That evening, Ananya's parents invited Mr. Srinivasan for tea, and when they came to his house for the first time in years, his house echoed with laughter again. He brought along Meenakshi's old photo album. Sitting on the floor, Ananya listened wide eyed to the stories of vintage buses, handwritten postcards, and a love that lasted a lifetime. The little notes in the window didn't stop. Soon, others from the street, auto drivers, neighbors, students, started pinning their own kind words and wishes under the window for everyone they knew. A street once known for its closed doors had come alive with these connections, all because of one old man and a curious young child, and of course, a window of love. Mr. Srinivasan would often say, "Affection doesn't need to shout, it just needs to be shared." And in that little street in Madurai, love truly lived in the flutter of paper notes and the smiles they brought. In a world that often rushes by in silence, it's the smallest gestures, a kind word, a handwritten note, a wave from window, that carry the loudest echoes of love and connection. You never know how deeply your simple act of kindness can touch another heart and brighten an entire community. And with that, dear listeners, we come to the end of today's episode. Isn't it incredible? An 82-year-old man and a 10-year-old girl from two different generations found comfort, friendship, and purpose in each other's presence without ever needing much more than a few words and an open heart. This story reminds us that love doesn't fade with age and kindness doesn't need to be loved. Sometimes it quietly sits in a window waiting to be seen and returned. If this episode warmed your heart, pass that warmth on, drop a note, smile at a stranger, or check in on a neighbor. You might just start a ripple of kindness, just like Mr. Srinivasan and little Ananya did. Until we meet again in the next story, stay kind, stay hopeful, and remember positivity begins with you. So be happy, keep smiling, keep your energy alive. Bye.